So Flowers, thank you so much for meeting me here today. So what is it that you're going to be teaching me?
Well, Mr. Lanham, today I'm going to be teaching you some home fire safety tips to keep your home safe.
Okay, great. Okay, how do we do that?
Well, we're going to get you some smoke alarms installed that are up to date.
Okay.
Now, the smoke alarms that we're installing today are 10-year smoke alarms, so you won't have to change the battery in them. We still recommend that you test them at least once a month. But as far as changing the battery, you won't even be able to get the battery out of these smoke alarms. And if it starts chirping for any reason before that, just give the American Red Cross a call. We'll come and change it out for you.
Wow, that's simple. That's simple. Well, you have volunteers that do these type of things too, right?
Oh,
You're going to
yes.
come in and put in the smoke alarms for us?
Yes, I love our volunteers. They come in, they help us out when we need, because our chapter alone covers 17 counties.
Wow.
So I can't do that by myself.
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
we definitely need our volunteers to come in and help.
So we have a volunteer here today that's going to actually install one of the smoke alarms. So y'all are in my home right now. You're fixing to do me a training. He's fixing to install the smoke alarm. So we want to bring him in.
This is my volunteer, Stan. I just love him. He's so useful.
Stan, thank you.
All right, so while he is installing the smoke alarm here, I'm just going to go over some safety tips for you.
Okay.
So in terms of cooking, of course, when you're cooking, you want to always make sure you're supervising your food. A lot of people, they take an oven mitt with them if they have to leave the kitchen, just to remind them, why do I have this in my hand? Oh yes, the bacon's cooking.
Yes.
So run back in there. With fireplaces, space heaters, things like that, you want to make sure they're at least 3 feet away from furniture, clothing, curtains, things like that.
Okay.
You have any smokers in your home?
No.
Okay. In case someone does come over, you want to make sure they're not falling asleep in the bed.
Right.
We get a lot of fires started with people smoking in the bed.
Oh, wow.
For your electrical appliances, especially your larger ones like the refrigerator and stove, just make sure they're plugged in directly to the wall and not any extension cords that could overheat and spark.
Okay.
For matches
know
and
that.
lighters, maybe you have candles, things like that. Even if you don't
Yes, we
smoke,
do.
just make sure they're out of the reach of children.
Right.
And then for the smoke alarms, again, make sure you're testing it at least once a month. Now, these smoke alarms, they have a test button. They also have a hush button. So if you happen to burn the toast one day, you know why it's going off, you push that hush button, it'll be quiet for about 7 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then if it's still smoky, it'll go off again.
Okay, got you.
Alrighty? All right, and then here at the bottom, it says that you should practice your home fire escape plan,
Okay.
which is, hopefully you have one. Do you have a?
Not exactly.
Okay, we can go over that with you. We can help
Good.
you get one started. So we want you to be testing that. You need to be out of your home in 2 minutes or less.
Wow, that's
So,
not much time.
Not a lot of time at all.
So that's so good that you all can train us to do that.
Oh yeah, so this is something you need to sit down with the kids and, smoke alarm goes off. Instead of panicking, they've been practicing this so they know that they need to get out of the home in 2 minutes or less.
Okay.
So that's something that we need to go over with you.
Okay, absolutely. So Flowers, thank you so much for coming into my home and installing the smoke alarm
No
and teaching
problem,
me
Mr.
all
Lanham.
these. Can I keep this piece of paper?
Oh yes, I have some information that I can give you.
Absolutely, that's great. So all the things that you covered today, I just want to make sure that I go home with my family,
Oh, yes.
talk about them, and make sure we have a safe home and are definitely ready to get out of the house in a safe place in case there's a fire. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you very much.
Not a problem, Mr. Lanham.
Michelle, thank you so much for meeting me here. So tell me about your work at the Red Cross. What do you do?
I have various jobs, which when you volunteer, that's kind of what happens. Recently, I went on a deployment, and I went as a caseworker, but I ended up doing some disaster assessment and some feeding, watching and helping with the shelter. It's a very rewarding situation to be a volunteer at the Red
I
Cross.
can only imagine. So what is part of your training? If someone out there wants to be in disaster relief, what is part of the training that you have to go through?
Most of our trainings could be done online through EDGE, which is a part of the Volunteer Connection. In your own time, you could get on them. The classes range anywhere from 45 minutes to a couple of hours.
Right.
And you can start in one area, but then it progresses into others.
You talked about it being rewarding. I can only imagine. I feel like anytime that I get to volunteer, anytime that I get to serve others that are in need, it is such a blessing to me. So tell me about some of the folks that you've seen. You see their faces as you get to help them going through this terrible time of a disaster. Can you explain some of that?
Well, in doing the casework, in Iowa, what they had was a big situation where they brought in 20 vendors along with us. And so people would come in seeking relief. There was about 500 homes destroyed.
Wow.
And, you know, they were in a lot of different needs. So what the Red Cross's role there was to bring everyone together that had an organization that would be of some help. And because, you know, when you're in the middle of a disaster, your mind isn't on what you need to do to recover. And that's the role of the Red Cross, is to primarily give them a temporary solution and to lead them on their way to recovery. So having these 22 other organizations there were really important to help lead these people through their recovery.
Yeah, that's so sad, and what a blessing again to have organizations like yourself that are able to come in and bless these people and take care of them. If there's someone out there watching this show right now, they're thinking, you know what, I'm kind of hesitant about being a volunteer at Red Cross. What would you tell them to encourage them to become a volunteer?
Well, I would tell them the same thing that I just told my 89-year-old dad. He said, Michelle, I'm very proud of what you're doing. I wish that I had thought to do it when I was younger. And I told him that it takes every talent to make things work. They will find a place for him. He does well physically, as long as you have, even with physical limitations. We had one of the girls that did casework that was in a wheelchair. I found that to be extremely humbling to see someone that has a disability making the effort to be there to help other people. So it takes the whole thing where it takes a village. Yeah. It really does. And there are various different things that people could do to make it all come together as a group. There's always something to be done. And we encourage everyone to volunteer. We'll find a place.
All right. Michelle, thank you so much for your time today and your service to Red Cross.
We'll get you
all
to volunteer.
You do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Flowers, I understand you have a really cool experience from Puerto Rico. Can you share that experience with us?
Yes, actually going to Puerto Rico was my first deployment. So the first time I actually got to go out and do disaster relief. And it was just amazing to see the people down there that they had been through so much, but they were the ones, the foundation of the volunteers down there that came in to help. Everyone had a smile on their face. Everyone was welcoming. And it really makes you feel pride. I mean, for our fellow Americans down there, but it makes you feel pride, like no matter what I'm going through right now, they're going through so much more.
Yeah. Puts things into place a little bit, don't it?
Yeah.
I know we can tend to go through our lives griping and complaining about something, and then I can't even imagine. I'm trying to imagine you going down there and seeing this disaster and being able to actually put the hands and feet and help. That had to be amazing.
It was inspirational, because like I said, there was so many smiling faces and dancing in the headquarters. Like, it really felt like a vacation sometimes, like a vacation with a whole bunch of crazy friends. We're just there having a good time. But for some people to come in, I don't have electricity. I can't even get to my home. Maybe I slept in a shelter last night. But you can come in every day and still work hard to support your fellow people. And that means a lot to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that story. You know, people like to hear stories, and they like to hear stories from people like yourself that have worked these situations, and such a heartfelt story. And I hope there's some folks out there watching that get to experience what you did.
I hope so. Like, I try to tell people, even if you can't donate money, we need your time.
Yeah.
We need those active hands. A lot of people don't realize that there's so many jobs that you can do within the Red Cross. It's a whole separate entity. Like, I thought Red Cross, you hear Red Cross, you automatically think blood.
Yeah.
There's a whole disaster side,
Yeah.
service to the armed forces. There's so much. Just look.
Yeah.
Contact your local Red Cross. Educate yourself on what you can do, because there's all kinds of opportunities.
redcross.org, or reach out to one of your local organizations, get you connected.
Yes.
Thank you for your story and for your time, Flowers. I
problem.
appreciate you very much.